Hey guys,
Oh my god.
I thought I'd make my first video with
It's
a
the same group of
voiceover,
people that we've been playing all
just to
day.
go into detail
It's
about who
just
I am, my name, and like where it originated from, and like my previous gamer tags in the past.
Blake's needing
Um,
mates to like
I also
play
thought
games with
I'd
though.
go into detail about Eday, as I feel like I've
I
played
would actually
Gears
get
for a very long time,
the Brazil Lancer on as well.
and I feel like I know how Gears has played in the past, and how Eday will play in the future, if that makes sense. You can tell this is my first time, so don't judge me. But yeah. So who am I? I'm obviously Suspecktz, but my first name is Jack. Um, I've been playing Gears since as long as I can remember, basically. I was fortunate enough to have a family that didn't really care about what I played.
Oh, what a choke. Darky
So
Dicky, you choke.
it was just, yeah, I, I got into Gears. And to do with the first memory,
It's bricked, 61.
it's probably like most people memories, and it's the first Berserker scene in Gears 1. I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and
Same as table. Same kid that always has table.
just being shit scared and not knowing what to do, just because I've just seen someone being ripped apart around the corner. I'm like, yeah, this is just I don't want to mess with this.
I got you down.
And I then put the game down for a while, and I came back
I don't know
for
where next is.
maybe 2 years later, and this is when I first found out what YouTube was. So I YouTubed on what to do, and I then realised how dumb I was, because all I had to do was just bait the Berserker to open up the doors for me.
I got two down.
And then the first time when I completed that, I'm like, YouTube is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, if I end up like slowing down or whatever, it's because I've got like a things that I want to
Okay, let's
talk
go.
about on the side. So the next thing I've got wrote down is my history with games.
Body down.
So I said that I've been playing Gears for as long as I can remember. But obviously, like any other gamer, you've got other games you want to play. And
I got
those
close.
sort of games are racing games for me. I've always been into racing since I was probably like 8 years old.
He's run
And
around
I
the
went,
corner for me.
my brother
No,
took me karting for the
I
first
steam
time.
trained.
And ever since then, I've always been into racing.
Swung towards me as well.
Not as much as F1, but the principle of racing, like in like racing games or whatever, that's my vibe. That's what I like to do. So games like Forza, had a massive chunk of Le Mans Ultimate, if you know what that is. Yeah, and I was pretty good. I was always in the top splits
Window, Brandon. Window.
on Le Mans Ultimate. And on Forza, I've set multiple world records that I'm pretty sure I've posted some on
Finally hit the
the,
shot,
the
did you
channel.
say?
So
I did.
if you have any inkling to watch that, then be my guest. If you do, make sure to drop a follow and like. Just saying. Anyway, the next thing I've got wrote down is accomplishments within Gears. So I've been the main game that Gears 4 was my main game. That was the game that I locked in onto multiplayer, and it's where
There's three on that
I,
mark.
I got to know one of my best mates. You might know him as Casper, but Alex Casper. I met him when he was 14 years old, and I met him in a free-for-all, and I was just bouncing, trying to warm up, and he came along and said my bounce was nice, and basically offered me out for a 1v1 sniper. And then yeah, since then we've always been good mates.
Okay,
But
okay.
throughout Gears 4's lifespan, I got obviously better and better and better.
Wait, we had an immaculate
Then
hold until we didn't. I don't know
I
what happened.
remember making a comment on Instagram saying Gears 5 is going to be my game. Gears 5 is going to be the game where I go pro.
Oh, right, buddy.
And
The most aware
little to
individual.
my knowledge that Gears 5
Most
would end up
aware
having the worst comp
spanker
scene
ever.
ever. and it being dead within a year or so. So that was my hopes and dreams in the bin. But no, I played competitive for a while. I always had like a weird mindset to it, where I always felt like I was letting the team down, but that was just. Although
Yeah,
I feel like
health on the floor, I really do.
if I'm in a 1v1, I can hold my own, shotgun, whatever. But I always like using the Lancer. I've always, if you know me, you know how accurate I am with the Lancer, and I feel like it's the most underrated weapon ever. Basically, you can make games which would be sweaty so much easier if you was just to cross. But yeah, I haven't answered the thing. So my accomplishments is I've got top 8 EU on Gears 5. I've also scrimmed against some of the best teams. Granted, got my ass
Okay,
handed to me, but it's a learning curve. And looking back at the old things that I used to post back on like Instagram, and looking back at how I used to play, me now, I'm such a more refined player in my opinion. Where if I was to verse myself, I reckon
Let's go down a bit.
I would ruin my previous self. So
I'll pass it.
obviously a sense of getting better.
Bed's hurting hill.
Another thing I've got noted down is the love for the campaign.
Gate's coming in hurts.
I love the Gears
I'm
lore.
down.
I love the campaigns. It's going into Eday. I refuse to play multiplayer until I've completed the Gears of War campaign. I feel it's like a ritual to me, you know, a ritual where I have to do it, otherwise I'm not playing the game properly. And with it going back to literally the day of the Locust emerging, it's
Wow,
just
I go down there.
it's just peak. I'm doing Italian gang signs to my monitor right now, just so you can fathom the passion I have.
Bed.
I love the lore. People like Sash Shadows, big up Sash Shadows, big up Lee. He's been
Do you have any Lancer ammo?
in King Gabs and all the others that post lore content.
It's rough.
Palmai Forever, that's another huge one.
You can get 'em, Ivan.
I love their videos. I always have. Just knowing
Fucking Nazi, mate.
more
Hit the
lore
wall.
and
Actually,
thinking
it's
I
like
know
full panic.
everything, and then the next video I'm like, I didn't know this. It's
next.
just astounding. I wish I had the comics, but to be fair, I don't know where to get them from. So, and the final thing that I've gone, who am I, is how I came across Gears of War. But I'm pretty sure I said it was just a game that I got with the
Okay,
Xbox
14
360
Never mind, I didn't hit
with my brother. My brother was never really into it. He couldn't get into it, but for some reason something clicked. It was like my soul aligned with Gears of War, as cringe as that sounds. Like, and I'd be lying in saying that Gears of War has carried me through some dark shit. Although it's a dark game and you're basically shooting humans and seeing their organs
Oh, no,
splatter
gosh.
all on your screen, it's a game that I can gladly say that it has influenced my life for the better. But let's not make it too emotional. Let's not, it's not that deep. I'm just trying to, yeah. So,
Cool, bro.
Table's up.
where did I get my name from?
Again, table.
The honest answer, my favourite song is by an artist called Usual Suspects, and my favourite song is Every Dog Has Its Day.
Close, close.
I've got it on my leg. I've got Every Dog Has Its Day tattooed going down my leg. It's a deep meaning quote to me,
Next.
and ever since then, Suspects makes me
Right,
sound
teammate.
very sus, but it's like another reminder that every dog has its day. It's like a continuous loop. My old gamer tags My first gamer tag was Jack's the name for me. It was J4CKS, and then and then name was N4ME, and then the number 4,
Happens, sir.
and then me.
I'm 2 on the
For the first gamer tag, I remember I have a vivid memory of asking my mom, like I want my name to have numbers in, because that was like the vibe in like 2010. It's like XXXI or XX, you know, that shit went
Mate.
so hard back in the day, and I wanted that, so that's why I've got numbers in my name. But from then in Gears 4, I joined my first clan. I done like a
Mate,
tryout
shot,
for
87.
Zen, which was a capital X and an EN, and it's where I met a good Scottish mate of mine. Everyone who knows him calls him Slip, but his name's Dylan. He's not really, he's big into Gears, but he doesn't really like to play it, which is each to their own. But I've been mates with him for longer than Alex. I've went huge with him. I've got some good memories with him, to be fair. He's a good lad. But then in Zen, it was Zen X Mental X.
Yeah, but so am I.
Obviously taken from Optic Mental,
2 minutes
because
out.
he was the fucking goat in Gears 4. I don't know how he done it to this day. He was just built different. Then when Zen died and there was like conflict years ago, we joined a clan called Effect, and then my name went to Effect Curves, but the ES in Curves was 35, so it was Curves 35. That was
Bad.
the some people in the EU scene would might recognize it. I'm not sure how big I was. I might have just been a rank nobody. I don't know. But
Hello?
then when Effect died, we went to OG, which was lowercase o and then capital G. We was in there for a while. Most of the members were
One more.
fucking cinema. They were so funny. Some of them really
Come on,
good players
Brandon,
too.
come on. What's going on next?
That was like the branching point for me to get a lot better. From Effect to OG, I seen a massive leap in my skill on Gears. My name in OG was OG Strafes, with a lowercase z and then an uppercase Z, because edgy. I want to be cool. That was cringe. Anyway, then after OG, it was like I just went to like another name, so it was lowercase L, J Trixie,
Again,
which
just
is
becomes so much easier when you
J
have
for
a
Jack,
Lancer.
and then
Ugh.
my nickname in school was always like Tricky or Trixie, so I just combined the both, and it was kind of a hard GT. I had that for around a year until I came across an Instagram team called SG,
Baby Jim's scary.
and then it was
How do you
SG
go from
Trixie.
playing on others where you're just
I
lost
met
and then
absolute goats in there. Some of them
that
have
way
made it
you
big
press
in Gears
triple,
5. Speaking to
wait,
you,
£90
Andy, if you
and
ever watch this,
£10 of Doritos and £11 of Doritos.
it's like Flash Moves, I think his name is. Like his GT, but don't quote me on that. He was always my junior, just so you know. But no, we always had like a good rivalry in there. But our egos got better of us and thinking
You didn't need that kill.
they're just holding us back. SG's holding us back. And looking back,
Take floor.
it's the wrong mindset to have.
Oh my god, my
And I was like to think I'm good mates with like the leader, or was the leader. And you know, I've met a lot of good people along the way. And then I've met the goats. One of the goats being Alex Caspers, who I've already talked about. And then you've got Mr. Curse, or Kursze, Curse. He's been streaming a lot. You probably know him. He probably shit talked you, or he's called you out for a 1v1 or whatever it may be. But those two, absolute pinnacle goats. I met Curse in Gears 5 when I first went to Ghost Grim on it, and ever since we linked and started talking, we was just best mates from there. He's fucking so funny, so funny, and we always have like this rivalry where we always want to. He always wants to 1v1 me, but it must be a mental block. It must be. But when he's on my team, we're like Bonnie and Clyde in gunfights, unless we get shit on, and then we blame each other. But it is what it is.
I got your pal. Back, pal. Got your back, pal.
But yeah, that's what I'm about. My name, and then I've got here thoughts on Eday. So it's what I've been waiting to talk about. I have been itching for Gears Eday for a very, very, very long time, which I'm sure many of you have. Do I think it's going to be good? 1000%. I think they've made very different changes, which honestly I wasn't expecting, but I respect it. And I think it's going to be amazing. In the beta, or the live preview or whatever, I seen that the hit registration when you aimed in was a little bit iffy, but as long as they can iron that out, which is just topping up the hit reg, I think the game's going to be amazing. I think the movement changes are bloody amazing. The fluidity in the movement, the guns, the gun sounds, you can tell they've put passion into the game. It doesn't take a genius to see this. And speaking to people who haven't really been into Gears that much, even Dave said they want to pick up the game, they want to try it. And I've said this will be the best time to try out a Gears game, because no one's going to be amazing off launch. It's literally just going to be raw aim, and if you played the old Gears titles, you'll probably be trying to bounce or all this stuff, right? So yeah, if you're watching this and you haven't played Gears, or you want to try it out for the first time, please do. You'll be surprised on how quickly you get hooked. It's got a very, very unique gameplay wise. There's not many games like it, to be honest. People said like Rogue Company and what's the new extraction shooter that everyone's been banging on about. I can't remember. But people say that it's got similar gameplays to that, which is true. It has, but you aren't shooting fucking 7-foot locust monsters in the face and watching their guts realign on the floor, are you? So you ain't gonna find anything like it. Do I think the story is going to be good? Again, 1000%. I've already went into detail why I love the lore. One of the reasons why is because it's very, very good. It's you learn a lot more in the comics than you do in the story. So, as in Barrick, for example, he was only on Ram Shadow in Gears 3, and seeing him in the comics and how he basically sacrificed himself and went out with just fighting the Locust with his bare hands, you couldn't name a better ending. Like, that's just one example. Every single character, like Marcus Phoenix, Dominic Santiago, his brother Carlos is Adam Phoenix, Anya Stroud, Helena Stroud. You've got hundreds of characters that have
Dirty hammerburst.
all lore like bind into it, and I think that's it. That plays a very big part on just the lore in general. And
I don't even know who he is.
I think if you want something new to get into, like, I know Warhammer's got like a very good lore scene. Destiny 2 is another good lore scene. I think Gears is up there too. Maybe not as big as Destiny, where you've got like whole other like universes that's getting mentioned and whatever, but Gears is refined and good. That's the most I can say. The first is, how's it going to play like? So I got to play a little snippet of it, and from my experience, it's like a more fluid but more clunky version of Gears 2, where you can still wall bounce, but you're basically having to pursue, like, you have to go 60% or 90% towards the wall before you can pull off. So in some ways it's a bit like Reloaded, but you don't need to hit the wall, which is personally a good thing. It's center screen, so the shots aren't coming out of the gun anymore like it was in 4 and 5. So it's again similar to Reloaded, but playing Eday, just for the small time that I got to play, it was
Snipes up. Probably playing for it.
very fluid. You can tell they've spent time
With his
in the
freaky
lab. They spent time just listening to people, and you can tell it's like a passion project, really. You can tell the people who made it are passionate about Gears, and that's rare to find in the gaming scene, as sad as it sounds. Unless you're like a small studio with like a smallish fan base that love your game to bits. You went on, like, games like COD, for example. The developers and the higher ups don't really give a toss about the fans. They just care about money. And once you start caring about money to the extent of you don't care about your fans, then what's the point? You just I guarantee if you went back to COD 1, where the developer team was making it, they were making it out of, I assume, passion. They weren't in it to make millions and millions and millions. They just wanted to make a war game. And now you look at it now, where you find fucking every Tom, Dick and Harry you're able to buy in the store. It's not COD, it's not the same. And I'm glad that Gears hasn't really went down that same road, if that makes sense.
Silly me.
And finally, I've got down the new game modes and versus. So I think they said they've got 4 game modes coming out at launch. Wait,
I don't know who you are.
one of them's Conquest, that we got to play in the preview, which is like a combination of Control and King of the Hill. I think that game mode is going to be very, very good. Then we've got basically a Search and Destroy game mode in Gears, which is like Gridiron, if you've ever played Gears 5, and Execution, in my eyes. Again, it's going to be
Snipe again.
it's going to be fun on how it's going to play out. There's also TDM, I think, and there's another game mode which I can't really remember. But again, they're making new game modes for us in coming in Eday, and so again, no one's going to be amazing off the launch. There's not going to be some sweaty. Of course, it's going to be sweaty sacks, but no one's going to have like a refined setup going into ranked. There's not going to be. It's going to take a time for callouts to be a thing, and what's the best point on the map to hold so the other team can't
Oh no.
anchor down and lance you out or whatever it may be. It's going to take time for that because it's again a brand new game, brand new maps, but we've also got brand new movement styles. We've got new weapons that we all have to get to try out and stuff like this. Yeah, and finally the Horde Siege looked utterly amazing. It's, you ask anyone who's into PvE, they look at this and they think, yes, this is top notch. We want this. We want this now. They've hit the nail on the head with Horde. It's new. It's original. It's, there's not words that I can find right now, but I just know it's going to play like shit off a shovel. It's going to be so good. And honestly, I can't wait till the full game launches where I get to play the game.
17, 5 and 12.
I'm counting down the days in my head. It's, ugh, I can't wait. I just can't. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. I don't know how good or bad I've done this, so if you watch this, just leave a comment down below and say, yo, this stinks, don't do it again, or you know what, I've learned more about you, I like your insight into Gears, and or whatever it may be, right? Just let me know so I can look at it. Either, I don't know, just take notes, and I want to learn. I want to start doing this more. I want to start uploading more, streaming more. Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do, but I've always been self-conscious in myself to not doing it. But I don't want to go too personal into detail, but something's happened very recently, and I want to do things that I enjoy now. So yeah, this is why I want to pursue more into this. If it sounds like I'm yapping, I am, but it's just I get new thoughts in my brain, and I'm like, yeah, I need to talk about this, so I'm going to talk about it. But no, I think overall Gears Eday is going to be absolutely cinema. It's going to be peak. And hopefully, if you watch this, I get to see you playing. I get to hear your thoughts about it, and or whatever it may be. But on that note, I'm going to call it there. Thanks for watching, and I don't really know how to say see you later, but I hope to speak to you soon, I suppose. Yeah.